in order to feel more and be more in your life, there's one very important thing that you must learn, which is how to feel less and control more. The Stoics called it the art of not being disturbed by things outside of your control, and there's a simple reason why this matters. When you feel more, you have more desires, you have more aversions, you have more opinions about how things are going, whether they're good or bad. And when you have more feelings, you have less power, because whatever happens next, whatever the person says next, whatever the market does next, you're at its mercy because you're so reactive. There's two great examples of this in the Bible. Job is arguably the most righteous man in all of the world. He fears God and shuns evil, and even he is tested by Satan. He loses his wealth, he loses his children, and he's plagued with boils from head to toe. He curses the day he was born. He wants to die. He feels like it's not worth living anymore. But in the end he gets everything back, and he learns something extremely important. He realizes that what he felt before was based on his perception of reality, not reality itself. And he ends up blessing God instead of cursing God. He learns how to feel less so that he could control more. And the other example is Jesus in the garden right before he's crucified. He's in the garden just praying, sweating blood. He's freaking out. He's afraid. And an angel comes to him and tells him, "Hey, don't worry, you're not alone. I sent this other guy, the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, to help you." And what does Jesus say? He says, "Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Let me not have to go through this." And then he says, "Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done." This is the most powerful man in the history of the world. And even he had to learn how to feel less so that he could control more. But how do we do that? Epicurus said that the key to happiness is to want what you have and to have what you want. And there's a huge difference between those two. If you look around you and you see someone who has more than you, if you feel bitter or you feel envy or you feel resentful, or you start to think they must be doing better than you, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Epicurus says you need to focus on what you have, not what you don't have, and to appreciate it. What you have now, that's the only thing that you can actually influence. That's the only thing you can control. So don't waste time worrying about the other stuff. Epicurus also said that the chief task in life is to separate things into two buckets, the things that are in our control and the things that are not in our control. And that's really what this video is about. Because for most of us, we spend too much time focused on the things that are not in our control. When we talk about things that are in our control, we're talking about the only thing that any of us have any actual influence over. Our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, the choices that we make. That's the only thing that we can actually impact. We cannot control the actions of other people. We cannot control what happens in the economy. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control whether we get sick or not. We cannot control whether somebody loves us or likes us or rejects us or leaves us. All those things are not in our control. So when we focus on the things that are not in our control, we get anxious, we get depressed, we get angry, we get frustrated, we become reactive. But when we shift our focus to the things that are in our control, we become proactive. And the Stoics would say that's where our real power is. So here's 4 ways to feel less so that you can control more. No. 1. Accept what you cannot change. We often resist the things that we cannot change. We fight them. We try to control them. We yell at God. We complain. We whine. We get upset. We get angry. But sometimes the best thing we can do is just accept what's happening. It's not easy. Marcus Aurelius talks about how even he would resist the things that were happening. He would try to make them different. He would try to force them. But he said the trick was to find a way to allow things to be as they are. When you've lost something or when you have something taken away, like when you lose a limb, maybe you have an accident or you're born without it, it's hard to accept what's happened. But Marcus Aurelius says that's where your real power lies. He says that you have to learn to love the things that happen to you, because no matter what happens, you can still be happy. No matter what happens, you can still find joy. He says that your life is like a river. It's constantly changing. Everything in nature is in flux. Nothing stays the same forever. But the river, the water of the river, it always stays the same. New water flows in and old water flows out, but the river is always the same. It's a constant. He says that we should be like that. Whatever happens, we should be the constant. Our inner peace should be the constant. No. 2. You've got to put things in perspective. When things happen, we often get overwhelmed. We don't know how to process it. We don't know how to deal with it. And we don't put it in perspective. Marcus Aurelius talks about how he was walking through the streets of Rome past all the statues of the emperors and the generals and the conquerors, and he was thinking to himself, these guys are dead just like everybody else. They're just a pile of bones in some tomb. They're just dust. Nobody remembers them anymore. Even their names have been forgotten. He said, I'm just a breath. I'm just a puff of air. How ridiculous that I would think I am so important, or that anything I own is so important, or that anything anyone says about me is so important. None of it matters. He says, don't get caught up in the stories you tell yourself about the meaning of things. Don't get caught up in the opinions of other people about you. Don't take things personally. Just realize that nothing matters. And when you realize that nothing matters, you can stop getting so upset over the things that don't matter. You can stop taking things so personally. You can stop resisting the things that are happening because you realize, hey, this, too, shall pass. Good times and bad times both pass. Nothing lasts forever. No. 3. You have to remind yourself of what you're grateful for. Seneca says that we're like a ship. We float along the river of life, and we have no idea where we're going. He said, we just move from one place to the next. We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what's ahead. We have no idea what we're headed towards. He says that it's really important to take a moment, step back and say, what am I really grateful for? What's working in my life? What do I have enough of? What do I have a surplus of? When you wake up in the morning, say 3 things to yourself that you're grateful for. As the day goes on, keep track of all the things that are working, all the things that are going well, all the things that you have enough of, all the things that you have a surplus of. Because when we focus on the negative, we get more of the negative. When we focus on the positive, we get more of the positive. And gratitude is the key to shifting your attention to what you already have. 4. You have to remember that you're stronger than you think. We often think we're weaker than we actually are. We think we can't handle things. We think we'll break if we go through this experience. But we're stronger than we think we are. We've gone through hard things before and we've made it. You've made it this far in life. You've been through a lot of ups and downs. You've been through a lot of good and bad experiences, and you're still standing. And you've learned from those things. You've grown from those things. You're stronger from those things. And you can get through whatever's happening right now, too. And it's not about being naive and saying everything's great. It's not about acting like you're not going through hard things. It's about having faith in yourself and knowing that you stronger than you think you are and that you get through this, too. And whatever you get through, it's gonna make you even stronger. Nobody has ever gotten through more pain and more suffering than Jesus. And yet he said, all these things I've done, all these things I've taught, all these things I've been through, all the miracles I've performed, none of that matters unless I get to the cross. Unless I go through this ultimate suffering, none of that matters. Only when I go through this do I gain true strength, true power, true freedom. And he says that we can do it, too. We can take our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. We can take our scars and turn them into wisdom. We can take our wounds and turn them into power. But it takes courage. It takes resilience. It takes grit. It takes a willingness to face our fear and to go through it anyway. How do you feel less so that you can control more? Well, you have to accept what you can't change. You have to put things in perspective. You have to remind yourself of what you're grateful for. And you have to remember that you're stronger than you think you are. Do all those things and you will feel less and you will control more. And that's the path to happiness.